Maya's hands gripped the leather armrest so hard her knuckles turned white. The private jet shook violently as it cut through the storm clouds over the Sea of Japan. But that wasn't why her heart was pounding. Across the jet's luxurious cabin, Kim Jae-won sat perfectly still, staring at his phone. His face had gone completely pale, something Maya had never seen before. The man who faced assassins without flinching looked genuinely afraid. "What's wrong?" Maya asked, her voice barely audible over the engine noise. Kim Jae-won looked up at her, and for the first time ever, she saw real fear in his cold eyes. "They know you're coming," he said quietly. "Someone told them about you. About your training. About everything." Maya's blood turned to ice. "Who knows? The people we're meeting in Seoul. The ones who would kill us both without hesitation." He set down his phone. "Maya, I need to tell you something. Something I should have told you before we left. It's about why I really—" The plane dropped suddenly, throwing them both against their seatbelts. Alarms started blaring. The pilot's panicked voice came over the intercom in Korean. Kim Jae-won's face went from pale to grim. He translated in a deadly calm voice. "We're not alone in the sky. 2 unmarked aircraft are following us. And they're armed." Maya's world seemed to slow down. Armed aircraft? Following them? This wasn't supposed to happen. They hadn't even reached Seoul yet. Through the small window, Maya caught a glimpse of something dark and sleek flying alongside them. Too close. Way too close. Her training kicked in immediately. Her breathing steadied. Her mind cleared. Chen's voice echoed in her head. "In danger, your body will want to panic. Don't let it. Breathe. Think. Survive." "What do we do?" Maya asked, surprised by how calm her own voice sounded. Kim Jae-won was already moving, unbuckling his seatbelt, and heading toward a panel in the wall. "We prepare for the worst and hope for the best." 30 minutes earlier, the private jet gleamed white and silver in the early morning sun at the private airfield. It wasn't just a plane, it was a statement of wealth and power. Maya stood at the bottom of the stairs, staring up at it, still not quite believing this was her life now. 2 months ago, she'd been riding public buses with holes in her shoes. Now she was about to fly to South Korea in a private jet. "Stop staring and start moving," Mr. Park said from behind her, carrying their luggage. "The flight plan is filed, and the pilot is ready. Time is money, Maya." Maya climbed the stairs, each step feeling heavier than the last. With each step up, she was leaving behind any chance of turning back. Once this jet took off, she was committed to whatever came next. Inside, the jet took her breath away. The interior looked like a luxury apartment that happened to fly. Cream-colored leather seats that looked like they cost more than cars. Polished wood accents. A full bar with crystal glasses. Soft lighting. Even fresh flowers in a vase secured to a table. "Close your mouth, you look like a tourist," Kim Jae-won's voice came from the back of the cabin. Maya turned to see him seated in one of the leather chairs, already working on a laptop. He wore a black suit as always, looking perfectly composed and ready for business at 5:30 in the morning. "I've never been on a private jet before," Maya said, moving to sit across from him. "I know. Try not to touch everything." He didn't look up from his screen. Mr. Park finished loading their bags and came to stand beside Maya. His expression was more serious than usual. "The flight to Seoul is approximately 11 hours, he said. "You'll cross the international date line, so you'll lose a day. Try to rest during the flight. When you land, there won't be time for rest." "You're not coming with us?" Maya asked, feeling a sudden spike of anxiety. Mr. Park had been a constant presence at the compound. Strict, but reliable. "My job is to manage operations here while Mr. Kim is away," Mr. Park replied. He looked at her with something that might have been concerning. "You're his protection now, Maya. Everything we've trained you for, it all matters starting now." Maya swallowed hard. "I understand. Do you?" Mr. Park's eyes were intense. "In Seoul, you won't have backup. You won't have Chen or Marcus or Reina to help you if things go wrong. It's just you and Mr. Kim against very dangerous people in a foreign country. Don't let him die. And don't die yourself." Before Maya could respond, Mr. Park gave a slight bow to Kim Jae-won, turned, and left the jet. The door was sealed with a heavy, final sound. Maya was alone with Kim Jae-won, about to fly across the world into danger she could barely imagine. "Seatbelt," Kim Jae-won said, without looking up from his laptop. Maya buckled up just as the pilot, a professional-looking Korean man in his 40s with graying hair, emerged from the cockpit. He bowed respectfully to Kim Jae-won, and they spoke in rapid Korean. Maya caught a few words she'd learned: weather, route, and something that sounded like safe. The pilot's tone was respectful, but also slightly worried. He kept glancing toward the windows as if checking for something outside. After a few minutes of conversation, the pilot bowed again and returned to the cockpit. "What did he say?" Maya asked. "Weather reports show some turbulence over the Pacific. Nothing the plane can't handle." Kim Jae-won finally looked up from his laptop. But he's also concerned about the flight path. Apparently, there's been increased military activity in the region. Chinese and American forces playing their usual games. "Is that dangerous for us?" "Not if everyone follows the rules." Kim Jae-won closed his laptop. "But in my experience, people don't always follow the rules." The jet's engines roared to life, a powerful sound that vibrated through the cabin. Within minutes, they were rolling down the runway, picking up speed, and then, smoothly, almost gently, lifting into the sky. Maya watched through the window as the city disappeared below them, becoming smaller and smaller until it looked like a toy model. Somewhere down there, her mother was sleeping peacefully in Dr. Lee's facility, believing her daughter was safely studying abroad in Europe. The lie sat heavy in Maya's chest, making it hard to breathe. "Stop thinking about her," Kim Jae-won said, startling Maya. "I can see it on your face. You're thinking about your mother." "How did you know?" "Because I know that look. Guilt. Worry. The weight of keeping secrets from people you love." He leaned back in his chair. "But here's the truth, Maya. That lie is keeping her safe. If she knew where you really were, what you were really doing, she'd be terrified. A lie is a kindness." "It doesn't feel kind," Maya said quietly. "No. It feels like betrayal. But sometimes betrayal and protection look the same from the outside." Kim Jae-won stood up and moved to the bar. "Want something to drink? We have 11 hours to kill." "Just water, please." He poured her water and himself something amber-colored from a crystal decanter. Whiskey, probably. It was barely 6 in the morning, but time seemed meaningless up here in the sky. Kim Jae-won returned to his seat and pulled out a thick folder. He spread several photographs on the table between them. "Time for your final briefing," he said. "These are the people we're meeting in Seoul." Kim Jae-won took the first photograph. This is Park Min-ho, age 57. He runs the biggest import-export operation in South Korea. At least, that's what his business cards say. In reality, he controls most of the illegal shipping through Busan Port, which is the second-largest port in South Korea. The man in the photo looked like someone's friendly uncle. Round face, warm smile, expensive but conservative suit. He was photographed at what looked like a charity event, shaking hands with a government official. "He looks harmless," Maya observed. "That's exactly why he's so dangerous." Park Min-ho has built his empire on being underestimated. People see a jolly, generous businessman who donates to children's hospitals and sponsors university scholarships. They don't see the man who's ordered at least 30 executions that we know of. Kim Jae-won's expression was grim. "Never trust a smile in my world, Maya. The friendlier someone seems, the more dangerous they usually are." He moved to the next photograph. This is his son, Park Jin-woo. I am 28 years old. Educated at Harvard Business School. Speaks perfect English, Mandarin, and Japanese. Officially, he's the chief technology officer of his father's legitimate shipping company. Unofficially, he runs the digital side of their criminal operation, money laundering through cryptocurrency, encrypted communications, hacking into competitor systems. Park Jin-woo was handsome in an expensive way. Designer glasses, perfectly styled hair, a smile that probably made people trust him instantly. "He's young," Maya said. "Close to my age." "Don't let that fool you. Jin-woo is a sociopath. There are rumors he killed his first person at 16, a tutor who threatened to expose some academic cheating. Made it look like suicide. Never proven, but everyone knows. Kim Jae-won's eyes were cold. He might try to be friendly to you. Charming. He likes young women. Don't fall for it. Maya felt a chill run down her spine. I won't. Good. Kim Jae-won pulled out the third photograph, and his entire demeanor changed. Became more serious. More tense. And this is the one you need to watch most carefully. Lee Mi-sun. Age 33. Former Republic of Korea Army Special Warfare Command, basically Korean Special Forces. She served for 8 years, including deployments to counterterrorism operations. Highly decorated. Then she left the military and became Park Min-ho's head of security. The woman in the photo was beautiful in a dangerous way. Sharp features, cold eyes, athletic build visible even through her professional clothes. She stood slightly behind Park Min-ho in the photo, but her eyes were scanning the area like a predator looking for threats. Why did she leave the military? Maya asked. The official story is that she wanted better pay in the private sector. The unofficial story is that she was forced out after an operation went wrong and civilians died. She was following orders, but someone needed to take the fall. Kim Jae-won looked at Maya seriously. Mi-sun is the most dangerous person you'll meet in Seoul. She's killed at least 20 people that we know of. Maybe more. She's trained in weapons, hand-to-hand combat, tactical operations, everything. If things go wrong, she's the one who'll try to kill us. Maya studied the photograph, memorizing every detail of Lee Mi-sun's face. Is she as good as Chen or Reina? Better. Chen and Reina trained criminals and bodyguards. Mi-sun trained soldiers for actual war. Different level entirely. Kim Jae-won gathered the photographs. But you have advantages she doesn't know about. You look young and harmless. She'll underestimate you. Use that. You keep saying if things go wrong, Maya said. What exactly could go wrong? I thought this was a business meeting. Kim Jae-won was quiet for a long moment. Then he sighed and poured himself more whiskey. Maya, let me explain how deals work in my world. Park Min-ho controls the ports I need to expand into Asia. I control distribution networks in America that he wants access to. On paper, this partnership benefits both of us. We both make millions. Everyone wins. So, what's the problem? The problem is trust. Or rather, the complete lack of it. Kim Jae-won swirled his whiskey. Park Min-ho doesn't trust me not to betray him once I have port access. I don't trust him not to betray me once he has distribution access. We're both criminals. Betrayal is our business model. Then why meet at all? Because the potential profit is too large to ignore. So we met. We negotiate. We try to find terms that make betrayal more costly than cooperation. We bring lawyers and contracts and detailed agreements. He paused. And we both bring weapons and security because we know that if negotiations fail, things might get violent. Maya felt her stomach tighten. You think the Parks might try to kill us? I think it's a possibility we have to prepare for. Especially because there's another complication. Kim Jae-won pulled out one more photograph. The Chen family. Maya recognized the woman immediately. Mrs. Elizabeth Chen, the dangerous woman from the gala who'd threatened her. The Chen family has controlled most of the smuggling between Asia and the West for 3 generations, Kim Jae-won explained. If I make a deal with the Parks, it threatens the Chen family's monopoly. They'll do anything to prevent this partnership from happening. They tried to kill us at the gala, Maya remembered. And they might try again in Seoul. In fact, they probably will try again. Kim Jae-won looked at Maya directly. So here's the situation. We're walking into a meeting with people who might want to kill us. We're doing it in a country where we have no backup and limited resources. And we have enemies who definitely want us dead looking for any opportunity. Still think you're ready for this? Maya's mouth was dry. She reached for her water and drank, buying herself time to think. Everything in her wanted to say no. Wanted to admit she was terrified. I wanted to beg to go home. But she thought about her mother. about Grace, healthy and alive because Maya had made a deal. Because Maya had been brave enough to walk through those black gates and face the monster everyone feared. She'd come too far to back down now. "I'm ready," Maya said, meeting Kim Jae-won's eyes. "You trained me for this. I won't let you down." Something shifted in Kim Jae-won's expression. Pride? Respect? Maya couldn't quite read it. "You've already exceeded every expectation I had for you," he said quietly. 2 months ago, you were a desperate girl who could barely throw a punch. Now you're something else entirely. What am I now?" Maya asked. Kim Jae-won was quiet for a moment. Dangerous. In the best possible way. They flew in silence for a while. Maya tried to rest, but her mind wouldn't stop racing. She kept thinking about Lee Mi-sun, about the parks, about all the ways this could go wrong. She must have dozed off eventually, because she woke up to Kim Jae-won gently shaking her shoulder. "We need to talk," he said. "About something important." Maya sat up, rubbing her eyes. Through the window, she could see they were over the ocean now. Nothing but water in every direction. "What is it?" Kim Jae-won sat down across from her. He looked different, less cold, more human. Like the mask he always wore was starting to crack. "There's something you need to know. Something about why I agreed to help you that night you came to my compound." He paused, seeming to struggle with the words. It wasn't random kindness. And it wasn't just a business transaction. Maya's heart started beating faster. "What do you mean?" "Your mother's full name. What is it?" Maya frowned at the strange question. "Grace Johnson." "Why?" "And before she had you? Did she ever use another name?" "No, Johnson has always been her last name. She never married my father. He left before I was born." Maya felt tension building in her chest. "Why are you asking about my mom's name? Did she have any siblings? Brothers or sisters?" Maya's breath caught. She had a younger sister, Sarah. But she died in a car accident 15 years ago, before I was born. My mom doesn't talk about her much. It's too painful. Maya leaned forward. "What is this about? Why are you asking about my Aunt Sarah?" Kim Jae-won stood up and walked to the window, staring out at the endless ocean. When he spoke, his voice was different. Softer. Filled with an emotion Maya had never heard from him before. 15 years ago, I was a different person. Younger. More reckless. Still building my empire. Still making enemies. Still learning how dangerous this world really is. He paused. And I met a woman who changed everything. A woman who saw past the monster everyone said I was. A woman who made me believe I could be something more. Maya's chest tightened. What was her name? Sarah Johnson. Kim Jae-won turned to look at her. Your aunt. The world seemed to tilt. Maya gripped the armrests of her chair. You know my Aunt Sarah? I loved her, Kim Jae-won said simply, and the way he said those 3 words made Maya's heart ache. She was working as a social worker in the city. She'd come to my neighborhood trying to help kids escape gang life. We met by accident. She was helping a kid who worked for me, trying to get him into a legitimate job program. He walked back and sat down, his eyes distant with memory. Sarah was everything I wasn't. Good. Pure. Hopeful. She believed people could change. She believed I could change. A sad smile crossed his face. She was wrong, of course. But for a while, when I was with her, I wanted to be the person she thought I could be. What happened to her? Maya whispered, though part of her already knew. Already dreaded the answer. Kim Jae-won's expression went dark. Cold. Filled with old rage. My enemies happened to her. A rival organization found out about Sarah. They knew she mattered to me. They knew she was my weakness. His hands clenched into fists. So they targeted her. A car accident on a rainy night. Except it wasn't an accident. They ran her off the road. Her car went into a ravine. She died on impact. Tears burned in Maya's eyes. Oh my God. I had all the power in the world. Money, men, weapons, influence. And I couldn't save her. Kim Jae-won's voice was raw with old pain. I couldn't protect the one person who actually mattered. Do you understand what that does to someone? To have all that power and still be powerless when it counts. Maya did understand. It was exactly how she'd felt watching her mother die in that hospital bed. Powerless despite desperate love. I hunted down everyone responsible, Kim Jae-won continued, his voice going cold again. It took me 3 years, but I found them all. And I made them pay. But it didn't bring her back. Nothing could bring her back. He looked at Maya directly, and she saw genuine vulnerability in his eyes. So when you showed up at my gate that night, begging for help to save Grace Johnson, Sarah's sister, I knew immediately who you were. My people confirmed it within an hour. You're Sarah's niece. Her family. Everything clicked into place for Maya. The way he'd agreed so quickly. The excessive investment in her training. The protection. The opportunities. The strange moments when he'd seemed almost protective of her. It wasn't random. It wasn't just business. It was guilt. Grief. A second chance to save Sarah's family when he couldn't save Sarah herself. So you only helped me because of her, Maya said quietly, feeling something break inside her chest. Because I'm her niece. Not because of me. It started that way, Kim Jae-won admitted. I thought if I could save you, protect you, help you become strong enough to survive in this world, maybe it would balance the scales somehow. Maybe I could protect Sarah's family the way I failed to protect her. He leaned forward, his eyes intense. But Maya, you need to understand something. What started as guilt became something else entirely. Over these past weeks, watching you train, watching you refuse to quit even when everything hurts, watching you grow from that desperate girl into someone extraordinary. He paused. You're not just Sarah's niece to me anymore. You're. The plane suddenly shook violently, cutting him off. Alarms started blaring throughout the cabin. The pilot's voice came over the intercom, shouting in panicked Korean. Kim Jae-won's face went pale as he listened. He grabbed his phone, typed something quickly, then looked at Maya with genuine fear in his eyes. We're not alone in the sky, he said, his voice deadly calm despite the chaos. 2 unmarked aircraft are following us. They're armed, and they're closing in. Maya's training kicked in immediately. Her breath steadied. Her mind cleared. All the fear transformed into sharp focus. What do we do? She asked calmly. Kim Jae-won was already moving to a compartment in the wall. He pulled out 2 bulletproof vests and threw one to Maya. Put this on. Now. Maya caught the vest and pulled it over her head with practiced efficiency. It was heavy, but she'd worn one before during training exercises with Marcus. Through the window, she caught her first glimpse of the threat, a sleek black aircraft flying alongside them. Close enough that she could see the pilot. Close enough to see the weapons mounted under its wings. Her heart jumped, but she kept her breathing controlled. Fear is information, Chen had taught her. Use it. Don't let it use you. The jet shook again, as it suddenly banked hard to the right. Maya grabbed the armrest to keep from being thrown sideways. Buckle up. Kim Jae-won commanded, doing the same. The pilot's voice came over the intercom again, this time in accented English for Maya's benefit. 2 military aircraft are pursuing. They're demanding we divert to a private airfield. If we don't comply, they're authorized to force us down. Kim Jae-won's phone buzzed. He answered, listened for a moment, his face getting darker and darker. Who are they? Maya asked. Chen family, Kim Jae-won said grimly. Elizabeth Chen's people. They must have been tracking us since we left. They're demanding we land at an airfield they control in North Korea. Maya's blood ran cold. North Korea. If they landed there, they were as good as dead. What happens if we don't land? She asked. They might shoot us down. Or they might just escort us there by force. Kim Jae-won looked at the pilot's door, then back at Maya. Our pilot used to fly for the South Korean Air Force. He's good. If anyone can outrun them, he can. Can a private jet outrun military aircraft? No. But we can outmaneuver them. And we're close to Japanese airspace. If we can make it there, those aircraft can't follow without creating an international incident. The jet suddenly dropped, plummeting hundreds of feet in seconds. Maya's stomach lurched into her throat. Her scream was swallowed by the roaring engines. Then they were climbing again, banking hard left. The jet's frame groaned under the stress of the maneuver. Through the window, Maya saw one of the black aircraft overshoot them, unable to match their sudden direction change. But the second aircraft was still right behind them, staying close. Kim Jae-won's phone rang again. He answered, listened for 3 seconds, and his expression changed completely. "It's Park Min-ho," he said to Maya. "The man we're supposed to meet in Seoul. He says the aircraft following us aren't his. He says if we can make it to South Korean airspace, he'll have his military contacts force them away." "Can we trust him?" Maya asked.
No.
"But right now, he's the only option we have." The jet shook violently as something exploded in the air nearby, not a direct hit, but close enough to send shockwaves through the aircraft. "Warning shot," the pilot called back. "They're serious." Maya looked at Kim Jae-won. His face was calm, but his hands gripped the armrests so tight his knuckles were white. "If we die," Maya said suddenly, the words coming out before she could stop them, "I want you to know, I don't regret coming with you. My mom is alive because of you. Whatever happens to me now, that was worth it." Kim Jae-won looked at her with an expression she'd never seen before.
Pain.
Regret. Something almost like love. "You're not going to die, Maya. I won't let you. I couldn't save Sarah, but I'll save you. I promise you that." 3 minutes to Japanese airspace, the pilot shouted. The jet rolled suddenly, turning completely upside down for a terrifying moment before righting itself. Maya's vision blurred. Her stomach revolted. But the maneuver worked. The aircraft behind them had to bank wide to avoid collision. 2 minutes. Through the window, Maya could see land in the distance.
Japan.
Safety. The black aircraft fired again. Another warning shot, even closer this time. Close enough that Maya felt the shockwave. 1 minute in Japanese airspace. The pilot called, his voice tight with stress. Maya closed her eyes. She thought about her mother, about Grace's warm smile and gentle hands, about all the sacrifices her mother had made for her over the years. "Please," she prayed to whoever might be listening. "Please let me see her again. Please let me survive this." 30 seconds. Kim Jae-won reached across and grabbed Maya's hand. She opened her eyes in surprise. His expression was intense. "Whatever happens in Seoul," he said quickly, "whatever you learn, whatever you see, remember that I meant it when I said you're extraordinary. Remember that you earned everything you've become. Not because of Sarah. Because of you." 10 seconds. The black aircraft fired one more time, the closest shot yet. The jet shook from the near miss. "We're over Japanese airspace," the pilot shouted triumphantly. "They can't follow. We're safe." Maya opened her eyes fully. Through the window, she saw the 2 black aircraft banking away sharply, disappearing into the clouds. They were safe. For now. The adrenaline drained out of Maya all at once, leaving her shaking and exhausted. She realized Kim Jae-won was still holding her hand. Their eyes met. "Thank you," she whispered. He squeezed her hand once, then let go. The cold mask started sliding back into place, but not quite as completely as before. "Don't thank me yet," he said quietly. "We still have to land in Seoul. And now everyone knows we're coming." The pilot's voice came over the intercom, calmer now. "We'll be landing at Incheon International Airport in approximately 45 minutes. I recommend you both try to rest. I have a feeling you'll need your energy for what comes next." Maya leaned back in her seat, her heart still racing, her hands still trembling. They'd survived an assassination attempt before even landing. What would Seoul itself bring? She looked at Kim Jae-won, this complicated man who'd loved her aunt, who'd saved her mother, who'd trained her to survive in his dangerous world. "You were going to tell me something," Maya said. "Before the attack. You said I wasn't just Sarah's niece to you anymore. What am I?" Kim Jae-won looked at her for a long moment. The vulnerability from before was gone, replaced by his usual cold control. But something lingered in his eyes. Something that looked almost like fear. "Someone I can't afford to lose," he said finally. "Now rest. Seoul is waiting. And trust me, What we just survived will seem easy compared to what's coming. He stood up and moved to the bedroom at the back of the jet, closing the door behind him. Maya sat alone in the cabin, her mind racing with everything she'd learned. Her Aunt Sarah. Kim Jae-won's lost love. The real reason he'd helped her. The danger waiting in Seoul. Through the window, she could see the sun setting over the Pacific Ocean, painting the sky in shades of orange and red. Beautiful and deadly, just like everything else in Kim Jae-won's world. Maya closed her eyes and tried to rest. But sleep wouldn't come. How could it? In less than an hour, they'd land in Seoul. And nothing would ever be the same again. Maya's hand moved to the small knife hidden in her dress before she even realized she was doing it. Park Min-ho's smile was still warm and friendly, but his eyes had turned to ice. Around the private dining room, she could feel everyone's positions shifting, Lee Mi-sun's hand drifting toward her jacket, Park Jin-woo setting down his chopsticks with careful precision, Kim Jae-won's body tensing like a coiled spring. You see, Park Min-ho continued in his jovial voice that now sounded sinister, when someone tries to kill my potential business partners before they even land, I take that personally. It makes me wonder, what kind of people attract that much attention? What kind of secrets are worth killing for? He leaned forward, and the grandfatherly mask slipped completely. Behind it was something cold and calculating and deadly. So, before we talk business, Jae-won, I need you to answer one simple question. Park Min-ho's smile widened, showing too many teeth. Who the hell are you really? And why did the Chen family send military aircraft to murder you over international waters? Maya felt Kim Jae-won's hand touch his watch, the signal. Pay attention. Memorize everything. Danger. But it was Lee Mi-sun who made Maya's blood turn to ice. The former Special Forces soldier was staring directly at her with a small, knowing smile. Better question, Lee Mi-sun said softly, in perfect English. Why does a simple executive assistant move like someone with military training? I've been watching you, Maya. The way you scanned the room when you entered. The way you positioned yourself with clear sight lines to all exits. The way your hand just moved toward a weapon I'm certain you're carrying. Her smile grew sharper. You're no assistant. So who are you really? Call to action. Everything is about to explode. Where are you watching from? Drop your country in the comments. Don't go anywhere because Maya is about to use everything she learned to survive. 8 hours earlier, the wheels of the private jet touched down on Korean soil just as the sun was rising over Seoul. Maya had barely slept during the remainder of the flight. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw those black aircraft following them, heard the explosions, felt the terror of nearly dying over the ocean. But they'd survived. They'd made it. Now came the hard part. As the jet taxied toward a private terminal at Incheon International Airport, Maya looked out the window at her first glimpse of South Korea. Everything looked modern and clean and organized. Massive glass buildings. Perfectly maintained runways. Signs in Korean characters that Maya could barely read despite Sophia's lessons. In the distance, she could see the city of Seoul rising up, a forest of skyscrapers that seemed to go on forever. It's beautiful, Maya whispered. It's dangerous, Kim Jae-won corrected from across the cabin. He'd changed during the flight into a fresh suit, looking completely composed despite the assassination attempt hours earlier. Beauty in my world usually is. The jet came to a stop. Through the window, Maya saw a black SUV waiting for them, along with several men in dark suits. Park Min-ho's people, Kim Jae-won said, following her gaze. He sent security to escort us. Could be genuine protection. Could be a trap. We won't know until we find out. Comforting, Maya muttered. The pilot opened the cabin door, and immediately Maya felt the difference. The air was crisper than back home, cooler, with a quality she couldn't quite name. It smelled like a foreign country, different somehow, even though she couldn't explain how. As they descended the stairs, a tall Korean man in his 30s approached and bowed respectfully. Mr. Kim Jae-won, welcome to Seoul, he said in excellent English. I am Han Jae-sung, head of Mr. Park Min-ho's security detail. Mr. Park sends his greetings and his concern about the incident during your flight. How did he know about the incident? Kim Jae-won asked, his voice neutral, but his eyes sharp. Han Jae-sung smiled slightly. Mr. Park knows everything that happens in Korean airspace, especially when it involves his potential business partners. The aircraft that pursued you have been identified as belonging to the Chen family's private military contractor. They violated international law and several treaties. Very messy. Very embarrassing for them. And very convenient for Mr. Park to have that information so quickly, Kim Jae-won observed. Mr. Park has many friends in many places, Han Jae-sung replied diplomatically. He turned to Maya and bowed. You must be Miss Maya Chen, Mr. Kim's executive assistant. Welcome to Korea. I hope your stay will be more peaceful than your arrival. Maya returned the bow at exactly the right angle she'd practiced obsessively during the flight. Thank you, Mr. Han. I'm looking forward to experiencing Seoul. Something flickered in Han Jae-sung's eyes. Approval? Suspicion? Maya couldn't tell. Please this way, he said, gesturing toward the SUV. We'll take you to your hotel. You have the rest of today to recover from your flight. Tonight at 8 p.m., Mr. Park has arranged a private dinner at one of Seoul's finest traditional restaurants. Very exclusive. Very secure. As they walked toward the SUV, Maya noticed the security detail watching them carefully. 5 men, all Korean, all moving with the practiced efficiency of trained professionals. Hands never far from weapons. Eyes constantly scanning. This wasn't just an escort. This was a threat assessment. They were being evaluated. Measured.
Judged.
Maya kept her face neutral and professional, playing her role perfectly. Just an assistant. Nothing special. Nothing threatening. But she could feel Lee Mi-sun's training kicking in. She noticed which of the security guards had the best position for a quick draw, which had military posture, which were watching her specifically rather than the general environment. Information. Everything was information that might save her life later. The drive into Seoul was surreal. Maya stared out the window, taking in a city that felt both completely foreign and strangely familiar. The buildings were modern and sleek. The streets were incredibly clean compared to back home. Everyone seemed to move with purpose and efficiency. But there were differences that made her feel like she was on another planet. All the signs were in Korean. The cars were different brands she didn't recognize. The fashion was different, more stylish, more put together than what she was used to. Even the way people walked seemed different. Culture shock. Kim Jae-won asked quietly beside her. A little, Maya admitted. Use it. Stay alert. Being in an unfamiliar environment keeps your senses sharp. He looked out his own window. And, remember, everyone here is a potential threat. Trust no one except me. They arrived at the Signal Hotel, located inside Lotte World Tower, one of the tallest buildings in the world. The lobby alone was more luxurious than any place Maya had ever been. Marble floors. Chandeliers that probably cost more than houses. Staff in immaculate uniforms ready to fulfill any request. Their suite was on the 117th floor. When Maya walked in and saw the view, she literally gasped. The entire city of Seoul spread out below them like a glowing map. Mountains in the distance. The Han River winding through the city like a silver ribbon. Millions of lights as far as she could see. It's incredible, she breathed. It's a cage, Kim Jae-won said flatly. Beautiful, expensive, and high enough that jumping would definitely kill you. Don't forget that we're essentially prisoners here. Park Min-ho chose this hotel. Park Min-ho controls the security. Park Min-ho knows our every move. He walked to the windows and stared out at the city with a grim expression. Get some rest, Maya. We have 8 hours before dinner. Try to sleep. Adjust to the time zone. When tonight comes, you need to be sharp. Everything we've trained for comes down to the next 48 hours. Maya wanted to ask him more questions. Wanted to talk about what he'd told her on the plane about her Aunt Sarah. Wanted to understand the complicated feelings swirling in her chest. But Kim Jae-won had already retreated to his bedroom, closing the door behind him with a firm click. Maya was alone in the massive suite with a view of Seoul spread out before her like a beautiful, deadly promise. Maya tried to sleep, but jet lag and anxiety made it impossible. She lay in the enormous bed, staring at the ceiling, her mind racing. In 12 hours, she'd be sitting across from some of the most dangerous criminals in Asia. People who killed without hesitation. People who'd survived in this world by being smarter and more ruthless than everyone else. And she had to convince them she was just a harmless assistant. Around noon, there was a knock on her door. Maya opened it to find an elegant Korean woman in her 60s, standing there with a professional smile. "Miss Maya? I am Mrs. Song. Mr. Park Min-ho has sent me to help you prepare for this evening. May I come in?" Maya hesitated for just a moment, then stepped aside. "Of course." Mrs. Song entered carrying several bags and boxes. She set them down carefully and turned to Maya with assessing eyes. "Mr. Park wanted to ensure you had appropriate attire for tonight's dinner. In Korea, we have certain expectations for formal occasions. I hope you don't mind, but I've taken the liberty of selecting a traditional hanbok adapted for modern formal dining." She opened one of the boxes to reveal a stunning dress, traditional Korean style but modernized. Deep emerald green silk with delicate embroidery. Elegant and sophisticated. "It's beautiful," Maya said honestly. "And these," Mrs. Song continued, pulling out another box, "are the accessories. In Korean business culture, the details matter. Everything sends a message." For the next 3 hours, Mrs. Song taught Maya things Sophia hadn't covered. Korean table manners were different from Western etiquette: how to hold chopsticks properly, how to receive food from elders, how to pour drinks using 2 hands as a sign of respect, and how to refuse politely without giving offense. "You speak Korean?" Mrs. Song asked at one point. "A little," Maya admitted. "I've been studying, but I'm not fluent." "That's fine. Most of the dinner will be in English for Mr. Kim's benefit anyway. But if you can use even a few polite phrases in Korean, it will show respect. Mr. Park values respect very highly." Mrs. Song also taught her about Korean business hierarchy and social customs that would matter at dinner. In Korea, age and position matter greatly. Mr. Park Min-ho is the eldest and most senior person at the table. You must greet him first, bow lowest to him, and never speak unless spoken to or asked a direct question. Mr. Kim Jae-won is your employer, so you always defer to him. Park Jin-woo is younger, but still senior to you in position. And Lee Mi-sun. Mrs. Song paused. "Be very careful around Lee Mi-sun. She is special." "How special?" Maya asked, keeping her voice innocent. "She sees things others miss. She reads people like books. If you're nervous, she'll know. If you're hiding something, she'll sense it. My advice? Be exactly who you claim to be. Don't try to act. Just be." After Mrs. Song left, Maya sat in her room, processing everything she'd learned. The layers of culture and custom and expectation were overwhelming. A soft knock on her door made her look up. Kim Jae-won entered, looking serious. "How are you feeling?" he asked. "Terrified and trying not to show it," Maya admitted. "Good. That means you understand how dangerous tonight is." He sat down across from her. "I need to update you on the situation. I've been making calls, gathering information. And the Chen family is furious about the failed aircraft intercept. They're in Seoul. They know we're here, and they're planning something." Kim Jae-won's expression was grim. "Park Min-ho knows this too. He's using the situation to his advantage, playing us against the Chens, seeing who comes out on top. So we're walking into a trap? We're walking into a complicated situation where everyone has different agendas and everyone is willing to kill to achieve them. Not quite the same as a trap, but almost as dangerous." Kim Jae-won leaned forward. "Here's what you need to know. Tonight at dinner, Park Min-ho will test us. He'll ask questions designed to expose lies. He'll create situations to see how we react under pressure. And Lee Mi-sun will be watching everything, analyzing everything. What do you want me to do?" "Exactly what we trained you for. Be polite, professional, and observe everything. Use your skills to read them, who's lying, who's planning something, who's the real threat. And if things go wrong..." He paused. "If things go wrong, you remember everything Chen and Marcus taught you. You fight. You survive. You get out. Understand?" "Understand," Maya said. Kim Jae-won stood to leave, then paused at the door. Maya, about what I told you on the plane. About Sarah. I've been thinking about that, Maya said quietly. About how everything started because of her. Because you loved her and lost her. It started that way, Kim Jae-won agreed. But that's not why it continues. You've become... He struggled for words. Important. Beyond Sarah. Beyond guilt. You're important because of who you are, not who you're related to. I need you to know that. Before Maya could respond, he left, closing the door softly behind him. Maya sat alone, her emotions a tangled mess. Part of her was angry that she'd been manipulated, that her whole relationship with Kim Jae-won was built on the ghost of her dead aunt. But another part was understood. Grief did strange things to people. Made them do desperate things. Make deals with desperate girls at black gates in the rain. She stood and looked at herself in the mirror. In a few hours, she'd put on that beautiful green dress and step into the most dangerous situation of her life. The girl looking back at her wasn't the same desperate teenager who'd begged for help 2 months ago. This girl was harder, stronger, more dangerous. Was she strong enough for what was coming? She was about to find out. The restaurant was in Gangnam, Seoul's wealthiest district, where money and power concentrated like nowhere else in the city. As their car pulled up, Maya saw it was nothing like she'd expected. From the outside, it looked small and unassuming. Just a traditional Korean building with a simple wooden door. The most exclusive places in Seoul don't advertise, Kim Jae-won explained. If you know about this restaurant, you're important enough to be here. If you don't know about it, you're not. 2 large men in suits stood outside the entrance, Park Min-ho's security. They bowed respectfully as Kim Jae-won and Maya approached. Inside was even more surprising. The restaurant was beautiful in a subtle, traditional way. Wooden floors, paper screens, low tables, the scent of expensive food and incense. A hostess in a traditional hanbok greeted them with a deep bow and led them through several rooms to a private dining area in the back. Park Min-ho was already there, and he was exactly as intimidating as his photograph suggested, but also warmer, more charming, more grandfatherly than Maya expected. He stood as they entered, spreading his arms wide with a huge smile. Jae-won, my friend, you made it safely. I was so worried when I heard about the incident over the sea. He came forward and embraced Kim Jae-won like an old friend. Up close, Park Min-ho looked like someone's favorite uncle. Round face, warm eyes, expensive but conservative suit. He radiated warmth and safety, which made him more dangerous, not less. Mr. Park, Kim Jae-won said, with a respectful bow. Thank you for your hospitality and your concern. And this? Park Min-ho turned to Maya with delighted eyes. This must be the famous Miss Maya Chen. I've heard so much about you. Maya bowed at exactly the right angle and received his business card with both hands, just as she'd been taught. The honor is mine, Mr. Park. Thank you for welcoming us to Seoul. Such perfect manners. And your Korean pronunciation is excellent. Park Min-ho beamed. Please sit down. My son and my head of security will join us shortly. They sat at the low table on cushions. Almost immediately, servers began bringing small dishes, banchan, the traditional Korean side dishes that came before the main meal. I must apologize for the terrible welcome you received, Park Min-ho said, his expression turning serious. The Chen family has no respect for international law or basic courtesy. To attack you over neutral waters, it's disgraceful. You seem very well informed about the attack, Kim Jae-won observed carefully. I have friends everywhere, Jae-won. In the military and intelligence services in places even you might not expect. Park Min-ho smiled. When potential business partners are threatened in Korean airspace, I make it my business to know everything about it. The door slid open and Park Jin-woo entered. In person, he was even more polished and handsome than his photograph. Designer glasses, perfectly styled hair, expensive casual suits that probably cost $5,000. He looked like a tech entrepreneur, not a criminal. Father, he said with a respectful bow to Park Min-ho. Then he turned to Kim Jae-won with a professional smile. Mr. Kim, welcome to Seoul. I apologize for not being here to greet you personally. I was handling some security matters. His eyes slid to Maya, and his smile changed slightly. I became more interested. And you must be Maya. I've been very curious to meet you. Maya returned his bow, keeping her expression politely neutral. But her training was screaming warnings. Jin-woo's smile was too perfect. His eyes are too calculating. The way he looked at her made her skin crawl. The pleasure is mine, Mr. Park, she said formally. Please call me Jin-woo. We're all friends here, aren't we? He sat down across from her, still smiling. Father told me you're Mr. Kim's executive assistant. That must be interesting work. It's very educational, Maya replied carefully. I bet it is. Jin-woo's eyes never left her face. You're quite young for such a responsible position. What did you study in university? And so it began. The interrogation disguised as friendly conversation. Maya had prepared for this. She launched into her cover story smoothly. Business administration at State University. Internships in corporate management. Fluency in English and conversational Korean. Interest in international business. All lies, but lies she'd practiced until they felt like truth. Jin-woo listened with apparent interest, asking questions that seemed casual, but were actually testing her story for inconsistencies. Maya handled them all smoothly, thanks to Sophia's brutal preparation sessions. But she could feel his suspicion. He didn't quite believe her. The door slid open again, and Lee Mi-sun entered. Maya's breath caught despite her training. In person, Lee Mi-sun was absolutely terrifying. She moved like Reina, like a predator that could kill you before you even realized you were in danger. Beautiful face, cold eyes, athletic build visible even through her elegant business attire. She bowed to Park Min-ho, nodded respectfully to Kim Jae-won, completely ignored Park Jin-woo, and then her eyes locked onto Maya. For a long moment, they just stared at each other. Maya felt like she was being X-rayed, analyzed,
Dissected.
Interesting, Lee Mi-sun said finally in perfect English. She sat down next to Park Jin-woo, still watching Maya. You're not what I expected. What did you expect? Maya asked, keeping her voice polite and curious. Someone softer. More. Lee Mi-sun tilted her head slightly. Decorative. But you have the eyes of someone who's seen violence. Someone who's been trained. Interesting for an executive assistant. Maya's heart jumped, but she kept her expression neutral and gave a small, self-deprecating laugh. I work for Mr. Kim. You see things in his world. Situations that require awareness. Awareness, Lee Mi-sun repeated, her eyes never leaving Maya's face. Is that what we're calling it? The tension in the room spiked. Park Min-ho laughed loudly, breaking the moment. Mi-sun, don't terrify our guests. They've had a difficult journey already. Let them at least eat before you make them nervous. More servers entered, bringing the main courses. Bulgogi, galbi, various stews, and rice dishes. Everything looked and smelled incredible. For a while, they ate and made polite small talk. Park Min-ho told stories about Seoul's business community. Jin-woo discussed technology trends. Kim Jae-won asked intelligent questions about Korean markets. Maya stayed quiet, observing everything just as Kim Jae-won had instructed. And what she observed made her more and more nervous. Every time Park Min-ho laughed, his eyes stayed calculating.
Cold.
Park Jin-woo kept checking his phone under the table. Texting someone. Frequently. Lee Mi-sun barely ate. She was watching. Specifically watching Maya. Reading every micro-expression, every small movement. And there was something else. A tension in the room that had nothing to do with polite conversation. Like everyone was waiting for something. Like they were all playing roles, waiting for the real performance to begin. Maya caught Kim Jae-won's eye and gave the smallest shake of her head, their signal for danger. His hand moved slightly, touching his watch. The return signal, I know. Stay ready. So, Jae-won, Park Min-ho said, pouring more soju for everyone. Let's discuss what brought you all this way. You want access to my ports in Busan. I want access to your distribution networks in America. On the surface, it seems like a mutually beneficial arrangement. On the surface, Kim Jae-won agreed carefully. But we both know surface appearances mean nothing in our world. Park Min-ho's smile stayed warm, but his eyes went cold. What matters is what's underneath.
Trust.
Reliability. Honesty. He set down the soju bottle and leaned forward slightly. So, before we talk business, I need you to be honest with me about something, Jae-won. Completely honest. The room went silent. Even the servers had disappeared. Of course, Kim Jae-won said calmly. Park Min-ho's friendly mask slipped, just a little. Behind it was something much more dangerous. Who the hell are you really? His voice stayed pleasant, but the words were sharp. Because when I researched you, I found a successful American businessman with questionable connections. Powerful, yes. Dangerous, yes. But not important enough for the Chen family to send military aircraft to murder you over international waters. He leaned back, his eyes never leaving Kim Jae-won's face. That kind of response? That level of resources and risk? That's not for a business competitor. That's for someone who threatens their entire operation.
Someone who knows something.
Someone who has something they desperately want to stop. Park Min-ho's smile disappeared completely. So, I'll ask again, and this time, I want the truth.
Who are you?
What are you really after? And why did the most powerful criminal family in Asia try to kill you before you even landed? The air in the room felt like it might explode. Kim Jae-won stayed perfectly calm. I'm exactly who I said I am. The Chens tried to kill me because... Wait. Lee Mi-sun interrupted, her eyes still locked on Maya. Better question first. She leaned forward, and Maya felt like she was being pinned by a sniper scope. Why does an executive assistant move like someone with military training? I've been watching you since you arrived, Maya. The way you scanned this room when you entered, checking exits, sight lines, potential threats. The way you positioned yourself with your back never to an open space. The way your hand just moved toward your left thigh, where I'm certain you have a weapon hidden. Lee Mi-sun's smile was sharp and dangerous. You're no assistant. You're a bodyguard.
Possibly an assassin.
So who are you really? And what's your actual purpose here? Everyone was staring at Maya now. Park Min-ho's eyes had gone cold and calculating. Park Jin-woo had stopped smiling, his hand drifting toward his jacket. Lee Mi-sun's body language had shifted into combat readiness. And Kim Jae-won was watching her carefully, waiting to see how she'd handle this. The test had begun. Everything she'd learned, everything she'd become, all came down to this moment. Maya took a slow breath, exactly as Reina had taught her. She met Lee Mi-sun's eyes directly. You're very perceptive, Miss Lee, Maya said calmly. You're right that I've had some training. When you work for someone like Mr. Kim, he insists his people know how to protect themselves. Basic self-defense. Situational awareness. It would be foolish to work in this world and be completely helpless. Basic self-defense, Lee Mi-sun repeated, clearly not believing a word. Is that what we're calling it? Yes, Maya said firmly. She forced herself to stay calm, to channel everything Sophia had taught her about confidence under pressure. I'm an assistant who's learned to be careful. Nothing more, nothing less. Prove it, Park Jin-woo said suddenly. If you're really just an assistant with basic training, prove it. Mi-sun, test her. Lee Mi-sun's smile widened. I'd be happy to. She stood up in one fluid motion and moved around the table toward Maya. Kim Jae-won's hand moved toward his jacket, toward his gun. Wait, Park Min-ho said, holding up a hand. Not here. Not in the dining room. This is a place for civilized conversation. He stood, his grandfatherly warmth completely gone now. Behind it was the real Park Min-ho, cold, calculating, absolutely ruthless. But Jin-woo makes a good point. Before we discuss business worth hundreds of millions, we need to know exactly who we're dealing with. If Miss Maya is hiding her true capabilities, what else might you be hiding, Jae-won? He gestured toward a door at the back of the room. We have a private training facility in the basement. Normally, it's for my security staff. But tonight, let's use it to clear the air. Mi-sun will test your assistant. Just a simple sparring match. If she really is just a secretary with basic self-defense training, she'll last maybe 30 seconds before Mi-sun puts her down. If she's something more, his eyes glittered. Well, then we'll know we're being lied to. And I really don't like being lied to. Maya's heart was pounding, but she kept her face calm. This was a trap. A test. Maybe even an execution disguised as a demonstration. If she refused to fight, they'd know she was hiding something. If she fought and lost too quickly, she'd look weak and useless. If she fought and won, she'd expose her training and prove they'd been lying. There was no good option. Kim Jae-won caught her eye. His expression was neutral, but she saw the message there. Your choice. I'll back whatever you decide. Maya looked at Lee Mi-sun. The former Special Forces soldier was watching her with predatory interest. If they fought, Maya would probably lose. Lee Mi-sun was better trained, more experienced, and had killed people in actual combat. But Maya had survived this long by being brave when she should have been terrified. She stood up, meeting Lee Mi-sun's eyes. I accept, Maya said clearly. But I want to be clear, I'm not a fighter. You'll win easily. I just don't want Mr. Kim to think I'm a coward. Park Min-ho's smile returned. Excellent. This will be entertaining. Please, everyone, follow me. As they walked toward the basement training facility, Kim Jae-won leaned close to Maya and whispered in English. Don't try to win. Last as long as you can, show you have some training, but let her put you down. We need them to underestimate you. Maya nodded slightly. The basement training facility was exactly what Maya expected. Mats on the floor, weapons on the walls, enough space for serious combat training. Lee Mi-sun removed her jacket and shoes, moving onto the mats with the grace of a professional fighter. Maya did the same, her heart hammering in her chest. Simple rules, Park Min-ho said cheerfully, like he was announcing a game instead of a potential execution. First one to submit or be knocked unconscious loses. No weapons. No killing strikes. This is just a test, not a death match. He looked at both women. Ready. Lee Mi-sun smiled. Ready. Maya took a breath. Ready. Begin. Lee Mi-sun moved. And Maya's world exploded into violence. Maya's blood dripped onto the concrete floor of the training facility, each drop making a small splash in the growing puddle beneath her. Her vision was blurry. Her ribs screamed with pain. Her left arm hung at a strange angle, dislocated shoulder, maybe broken. But none of that mattered. Because clutched in her right hand, retrieved from where it had fallen during the fight, was a photograph. An old, yellowed photograph that had slipped out of Kim Jae-won's jacket during the chaos. A photograph of a young Korean man with his arm around a beautiful black woman. Both smiling. Both clearly in love. Written on the back in faded ink, Jae-won and Sarah, forever. Maya stared at it through the blood in her eyes, and everything, absolutely everything, finally made horrible, perfect sense. So you did know, she whispered, looking up at Kim Jae-won, who stood frozen across the room, his face showing more raw emotion than she'd ever seen. You didn't just know about my Aunt Sarah. You loved her. And you've been lying to me about it from the very beginning. Kim Jae-won took a step toward her, his hand reaching out. Maya, let me explain. The wall behind him exploded. Literally exploded. Chunks of concrete and dust filling the air as armed men in black tactical gear poured through the smoking hole, automatic weapons raised. And leading them, dressed in an elegant red suit and smiling like a beautiful snake, was Mrs. Elizabeth Chen. Hello, Jae-won. She purred in accented English. Did you really think I'd let you make a deal with the Parks without crashing the party? How rude. She looked at Maya, still kneeling in her own blood, and her smile widened. And this must be the girl. Sarah's niece. The little project you've been training. How sweet. How pathetic. Her eyes glittered with malice. I'm going to enjoy killing her in front of you. Just like I enjoyed killing Sarah 15 years ago. The room went completely silent. Kim Jae-won's expression transformed into something Maya had never seen before. Pure, absolute rage. What did you just say? His voice was barely above a whisper, but it cut through the room like a blade. Mrs. Chen laughed. Oh, you didn't know? The car accident that killed your precious Sarah wasn't your rival gang like everyone thought. It was me. I had her killed because you were getting soft, making mistakes, becoming weak because of her.
I did you a favor, really.
Kim Jae-won's hand moved toward his gun. And then everything exploded into absolute chaos. 10 minutes earlier, Lee Mi-sun moved like liquid death. Maya barely had time to get her hands up before the former Special Forces soldier was on her, striking with professional precision. A jab toward Maya's face. Maya blocked, but it was a feint. The real attack was a leg sweep that took Maya's feet out from under her. Maya hit the mat hard, her training kicking in automatically. She rolled away, creating distance, exactly like Chen had taught her. Lee Mi-sun pursued without hesitation, dropping down with a knee aimed at Maya's chest. Maya twisted sideways. The knee struck the mat where her ribs had been a split second before. Not bad, Lee Mi-sun said with a small smile. You actually know how to fall properly. Let's see what else you know. She grabbed Maya's arm. Maya saw it coming and used one of Reina's defensive techniques, redirecting the grab, using Lee Mi-sun's own momentum to create space.
It worked.
Sort of. Lee Mi-sun's eyes widened slightly with interest. Interesting. That's not basic self-defense. That's actual combat training. Around the mat, Maya was aware of the others watching. Park Min-ho, with calculating interest. Park Jin-woo filming on his phone. Kim Jae-won's face is carefully neutral, but his body tense, ready to intervene. Lee Mi-sun attacked again. Faster this time. A combination of strikes, punch, elbow, knee, flowing together like a choreographed dance. Maya blocked two, dodged one, but the elbow caught her in the ribs. Pain exploded through her chest. She gasped, stumbling backward. You're holding back, Lee Mi-sun observed, circling her like a predator.
Why?
If you have real training, why not use it? Because using it would expose the truth, would prove they'd been lying, would turn this test into something much more dangerous. Maya tried to look scared and overwhelmed, which wasn't hard because she was both of those things. I told you, I only have basic training. You're too good for me. Liar, Lee Mi-sun said flatly. She moved in again, and this time Maya could see she was done playing. This was the real attack. Lee Mi-sun's fist came at Maya's face like a missile. Maya blocked, but it was another feint. The real attack was a brutal kick to Maya's midsection that lifted her off her feet and sent her crashing into the wall. Maya slid down, the breath knocked completely out of her lungs. Her vision blurred. Her ribs felt like they might be cracked. Stay down, Kim Jae-won said quietly from across the room. You've proven enough. But Park Min-ho held up a hand.
No.
Let's see if she can take more. In our world, you need to know how to take punishment. How much can you endure, Miss Maya? Lee Mi-sun walked over and grabbed Maya by the hair, yanking her to her feet. Maya cried out. It wasn't acting. It genuinely hurt. Let's try again, Lee Mi-sun said. This time, show me what you can really do, or I'll keep hurting you until you do. She threw Maya back onto the mat. Maya landed hard, her shoulder hitting at a bad angle. Something popped, pain shot through her arm like lightning. Dislocated shoulder. Definitely dislocated shoulder. Maya bit back a scream, tears streaming down her face from the pain. Mi-sun, that's enough, Park Min-ho said, but he didn't sound particularly concerned. More like he was commenting on the weather. Not yet, Lee Mi-sun replied. She advanced on Maya again. She's still holding back. I can see it in her eyes. She knows how to fight properly, but she's pretending to be weak.
Why?
What are you hiding? Maya tried to stand, cradling her injured arm. Her entire body was screaming. Every breath hurt. Her shoulder felt like it was on fire. But through the pain, her training was still there. Chen's voice in her head. Pain is just information. Use it. Don't let it control you. Lee Mi-sun grabbed her again. And this time, Maya's body reacted on pure instinct. She ducked under the grab, pivoted, and struck Lee Mi-sun in the kidney with a precise blow that Reina had drilled into her hundreds of times. Lee Mi-sun grunted, the first sound of pain Maya had heard from her. The room went silent. Maya realized what she'd just done. She'd exposed her real training, proven she was more than she claimed. There it is, Lee Mi-sun said, turning around with a dangerous smile. There's the real fighter. You've had professional training. Very professional.
Who taught you?
Maya didn't answer. She was calculating her options, all of which were bad. Park Min-ho stood up, his grandfatherly warmth completely gone. You lied to us, Jae-won. This girl is not a simple assistant. She's been trained by someone very skilled. Which means everything else you've told us might be a lie too. Kim Jae-won's hand moved to his jacket, toward his gun. Park Jin-woo and Lee Mi-sun both reacted, their own weapons appearing like magic. Wait, Maya shouted, holding up her good hand. I can explain. Please do, Park Min-ho said coldly. And make it convincing, or you'll both die in this basement tonight. Maya's mind raced. She needed a lie. A good one. Something they'd believe. Mr. Kim did have me trained, she said quickly. But not because I'm a bodyguard or an assassin. Because 6 months ago, someone tried to kidnap me to get to him. They nearly succeeded. After that, he insisted I learn basic combat skills for my own protection. Just enough to escape if something like that happened again. It was a good lie. Plausible. Explained the training without making her seem like a serious threat. Lee Mi-sun tilted her head, studying Maya. Possible. But that kidney strike you just used? That's not basic anything. That's the kind of precision strike that takes hundreds of hours of practice. I had a good teacher, Maya said. And I was motivated. I didn't want to be helpless ever again. Park Min-ho looked at Kim Jae-won. Is this true? Kim Jae-won nodded slowly. It's true. There was an attempted kidnapping. I decided my assistant needed better protection. I had her trained. I should have told you, but I didn't want you to think I didn't trust your security arrangements here in Seoul. The lie hung in the air. Park Min-ho studied them both for a long moment. I don't believe you, he said finally. But I can't prove you're lying. Not yet anyway. He gestured to Lee Mi-sun. Enough. We've learned what we needed to know. Miss Maya has more training than she admitted, but she's clearly not at Mi-sun's level. If she were a real threat, Mi-sun would be on the floor, not her. Lee Mi-sun holstered her weapon but kept watching Maya with suspicious eyes. Park Jin-woo lowered his gun as well, though he looked disappointed that things hadn't escalated further. Let's return upstairs, Park Min-ho said. We still have business to discuss. But Jae-won, no more surprises. No more secrets. Or next time, I won't be so understanding. Kim Jae-won bowed slightly. Of course. My apologies for the deception. As everyone started moving toward the stairs, Kim Jae-won came to help Maya stand. His jacket fell open as he leaned down. And that's when Maya saw it. A photograph, tucked into his inner jacket pocket. Old and yellowed. The corner was visible, showing just enough of the image that Maya recognized the woman in it. Her Aunt Sarah. Maya's hand moved on pure instinct. As Kim Jae-won helped her up, she used her good hand to pull the photograph from his pocket, palming it before he noticed. Can you walk? Kim Jae-won asked quietly, his eyes concerned despite the cold mask he wore for the parks. I think so, Maya managed. Her shoulder was agony, but she could move.
Barely.
They made it to the stairs. Park Min-ho and Park Jin-woo had already gone up. Lee Mi-sun lingered, watching them with those calculating eyes. You fought better than you should have, she said to Maya. That teacher of yours must be exceptional. He was, Maya said, letting the truth color her lie. Lee Mi-sun smiled slightly. Next time we meet, I won't hold back. I want to see what you can really do when you stop pretending to be weak. She turned and headed up the stairs, leaving Maya and Kim Jae-won alone in the basement training facility. Let me look at your shoulder, Kim Jae-won said. It's dislocated, Maya said through gritted teeth. I know. I can pop it back in, but it's going to hurt like hell. Do it. Kim Jae-won positioned her carefully, his hands firm on her shoulder. On 3. 1, 2. He popped it back in on 2. Maya screamed, the pain white-hot and blinding. But then it faded to a dull throb. Still hurt, but manageable. Bastard, Maya gasped. You said 3. If I said 3, you would have tensed up. This way was faster. He helped her stand fully. You did well up there. Lee Mi-sun is one of the most dangerous people I've ever met, and you survived to fight with her. I'm proud of you. Maya looked at him, and all the questions from the past 2 months, all the confusion and gratitude and anger and fear, crystallized into one simple need. She needed the truth. Her hand tightened on the photograph hidden in her palm. We need to talk, Maya said quietly. About my Aunt Sarah. About the real reason you helped me. About everything you've been hiding. Kim Jae-won's expression shifted. Now isn't the time. We're still in danger. We need to. Now, Maya insisted. I need to know now. No more lies. No more secrets. You owe me the truth. Kim Jae-won looked at her for a long moment. Then he sighed, suddenly looking tired and older than his 35 years. You're right. You deserve the truth. All of it. He glanced toward the stairs. But not here. After dinner. Back at the hotel. I'll tell you everything. I promise. Promise, Maya repeated. Like you promised to tell me on the plane before we were attacked? Like you've promised yourself you'd tell me for weeks now, and kept finding reasons not to. She pulled out the photograph and held it up. Kim Jae-won went very still. His eyes locked on the old picture of him and Sarah, young and happy and in love. Where did you get that? His voice was barely above a whisper. From your jacket. Just now. I stole it because I'm tired of waiting for you to tell me the truth. Maya stared at the photograph, her eyes burning with tears. You didn't just know my Aunt Sarah. You loved her. This picture proves it. And you've been carrying it around, keeping it secret, while pretending that helping me was just about guilt and second chances. She looked up at him, and all her hurt and confusion came pouring out. What else have you been lying about? What else don't I know? Because I've given you everything. My trust, my loyalty, 2 years of my life. And I'm starting to think I never really knew who you were at all. Kim Jae-won reached for the photograph, but Maya held it back. Tell me the truth.
Right now.
Or I walk away from this deal, from Seoul, from everything. I'll find another way to pay you back for my mother's treatment. But I won't be lied to anymore. Maya, you don't understand. Then make me understand. Maya's voice cracked. Tell me the truth. Kim Jae-won looked like he was in physical pain. His jaw worked. His hands clenched and unclenched. Finally he spoke. I loved Sarah more than anything in my life. She was the only person who ever made me want to be better than what I am. When she died... He closed his eyes. When she died, part of me died with her. I became colder, harder, more ruthless. I stopped caring about anything except power and revenge. He opened his eyes and looked at Maya directly. Then you showed up at my gate. Sarah's niece. Her family. Desperate and brave, and so much like her it hurt to look at you. And I thought, maybe this is my chance. Maybe I can protect you the way I failed to protect her. Maybe I can save Sarah's family, even though I couldn't save Sarah. So, I was just a replacement, Maya said quietly. A way to ease your guilt.
No.
Kim Jae-won stepped closer. That's how it started. But Maya, you have to believe me. It changed. You changed. You became more than Sarah's ghost. You became someone extraordinary in your own right. Someone He struggled with the words. Someone I care about. Not because of who you're related to, but because of who you are. Maya wanted to believe him. Part of her desperately wanted to believe him. But she'd been lied to so many times now.
Prove it, she said.
Tell me something true. Something you've never told anyone. Something that proves this isn't just another manipulation. Kim Jae-won was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was raw with emotion. The night Sarah died, we had a fight. She wanted me to leave this life. Go legitimate. She said she couldn't marry a criminal, couldn't have children with someone who might be killed or arrested at any moment. I told her she was naive. That I couldn't just walk away from my empire. that she had to accept who I was or leave. His hands were shaking. Maya had never seen him shake before.
She left.
She drove away angry and crying. And 20 minutes later, my enemies ran her off the road and killed her. The last words I ever said to the woman I loved were angry, cruel words. And I've lived with that for 15 years. Tears were running down his face now. Kim Jae-won, the cold Mafia king who never showed emotion, was crying. So, when you showed up begging for help, I saw a chance to do what I should have done for Sarah. Say yes. Protect someone.
Save someone.
Be the person she believed I could be. He looked at Maya with raw desperation. But somewhere along the way, you stopped being about Sarah and started being about you. And now I'm terrified because I'm starting to care about you the way I cared about her. And everyone I care about dies. Maya's chest felt tight. Her own tears were falling now, mixing with the blood on her face. I don't know what to believe anymore, she whispered. Believe this, Kim Jae-won said intensely. Believe that I will do everything in my power to keep you safe. Believe that you matter to me, not as Sarah's replacement, but as yourself. Believe that The wall exploded. Concrete and dust filled the air. Maya was thrown backward by the shockwave, her injured shoulder screaming in protest. Through the smoke and debris, figures emerged. At least 10 men in black tactical gear, carrying automatic weapons, moving with military precision. And leading them, stepping delicately over the rubble in an elegant red suit, was Mrs. Elizabeth Chen. Maya recognized her immediately from the gala, the dangerous woman whose people had tried to kill them in the sky. Hello, Jae-won, Mrs. Chen said in her accented English, her voice pleasant like they were meeting at a party. I hope I'm not interrupting anything important. Kim Jae-won had his gun out instantly, but 10 rifles were already pointed at him. I'd put that down if I were you, Mrs. Chen suggested. My men are quite nervous. Wouldn't want any accidents. Kim Jae-won slowly lowered his weapon, but didn't drop it. How did you find us? He asked, his voice cold and controlled despite the situation. Oh, Jae-won. I never lost you. Those aircraft over the Pacific? That was just to scare you. See how you'd react. I've had people tracking you since you left America. Mrs. Chen smiled. And Park Min-ho? That fat fool thinks he's so clever, but I own half his security staff. They told me exactly where you'd be and when. She looked around the training facility with distaste.
A basement.
How déclassé. I would have chosen somewhere more elegant for our reunion. Her eyes landed on Maya, still on the floor, and her smile widened. And this must be the girl. The little project. Sarah's niece. Mrs. Chen walked closer, studying Maya like an interesting insect. You know, you look quite a bit like her. Same eyes. Same stubborn jaw. I can see why Jae-won is so attached. Maya forced herself to stand, even though her whole body was screaming. She met Mrs. Chen's eyes without flinching. You know about my aunt? Maya asked. Of course I know about Sarah. Everyone in Jae-won's inner circle knew about her. His great weakness. His soft spot. Mrs. Chen's expression turned cruel. And when you're trying to consolidate power, you eliminate weaknesses. The implication hung in the air like poison. Kim Jae-won went very still. What did you say? Oh, you didn't know? Mrs. Chen's laugh was like breaking glass. The car accident that killed your precious Sarah 15 years ago wasn't your rival gang like everyone thought. It was me. I had her killed. The basement went silent except for the sound of rubble still settling. Kim Jae-won's face transformed into something Maya had never seen before. Not cold. Not controlled. Pure, murderous rage. You. His voice was barely human. You killed Sarah? I did you a favor, really, Mrs. Chen said casually. You were getting soft. Making mistakes. Becoming weak because of her. After she was gone, you became ruthless again. Powerful. You should be thanking me. I'm going to kill you, Kim Jae-won said, and Maya believed him absolutely. I'm going to kill every single person you've ever loved, and then I'm going to kill you slowly. No, Mrs. Chen said, her smile disappearing. You're going to die here in this basement. You, and your little apprentice. And I'm going to take over your American operations and the park's Korean operations. It's really quite a perfect plan. She gestured to her men. Kill them both. Make it look like Park Min-ho did it. We'll need someone to blame for this mess. The tactical team raised their weapons. Maya's mind went absolutely clear. All the fear, all the pain, all the emotional confusion. It all burned away in an instant. This was it. The moment everything had been building toward.
Live or die.
Fight or surrender. Maya looked at Kim Jae-won. Their eyes met. And without words, they understood each other perfectly. If they were going to die, they'd die fighting. Kim Jae-won raised his gun and fired at the same moment Maya dove for the weapons rack on the wall. The basement exploded into absolute chaos. Kim Jae-won's first shot took down one of the tactical team members. His second shot shattered the overhead light, plunging half the room into darkness. Maya grabbed a training knife from the weapons rack, not sharp enough to kill easily, but better than nothing. Her injured shoulder screamed, but adrenaline was a powerful painkiller. The tactical team opened fire. Bullets tore through the air, sparking off concrete walls. Maya rolled behind a support pillar, exactly as Marcus had taught her during their countless drills. Find cover. Stay low. Move constantly. Kim Jae-won was already moving, using the darkness and smoke to his advantage. He fired twice more. 2 more attackers went down. But there were still too many. And they had automatic weapons while Kim Jae-won had a handgun with limited ammunition. Maya! Kim Jae-won shouted. The stairs. Get to the stairs. But Maya saw what he didn't. Mrs. Chen was moving toward the stairs, using her own men as shields. If Maya ran that way, she'd be running straight into the enemy leader. So she did something crazy instead. She ran toward Mrs. Chen. The elegant woman's eyes widened in surprise as Maya came at her with a training knife. Mrs. Chen pulled her own gun, but Maya was already too close. Maya used a disarming technique Reina had drilled into her. Strike the wrist, control the weapon hand, twist and pull. The gun clattered to the floor. Mrs. Chen's surprise turned to fury. She lashed out with a vicious backhand that caught Maya across the face, snapping her head sideways. Maya stumbled, but didn't fall. She'd taken harder hits from Chen during training. She stabbed with the training knife, not to kill, just to create distance. Mrs. Chen dodged, but barely. The knife caught her expensive red suit, tearing the fabric. You little bitch. Mrs. Chen snarled. She wasn't elegant anymore. She was a cornered predator, all teeth and rage. Behind them, Kim Jae-won was still fighting the tactical team. Maya heard more gunshots, more shouting. Mrs. Chen lunged for her fallen gun. Maya kicked it away, sending it sliding across the floor into the darkness. Your aunt died screaming, Mrs. Chen hissed at Maya. Did you know that? After the crash, she was still alive for a few minutes. Trapped in the wreckage. Bleeding out. My people watched her die. She was trying to make Maya angry. Trying to make her lose control. It almost worked. Maya felt rage boiling up inside her. But under the rage was something else. All of Reina's training about controlling emotions, using them instead of being used by them. I didn't know my aunt, Maya said coldly. But I know you. You're terrified. You wouldn't be here with 10 armed men if you weren't absolutely terrified of what Kim Jae-won could do to your empire. Mrs. Chen's face twisted with fury. She attacked, not with a weapon, but with her bare hands. And she was fast.
Trained.
Dangerous. They exchanged blows in the darkness. Maya blocked more than she landed, but she was holding her own against a woman twice her age with far more experience. Because Maya had been trained by the best. And she'd been trained for exactly this moment. A punch came at Maya's injured shoulder, deliberately targeting her weakness. Maya twisted away, felt the punch graze past her. She countered with a knee to Mrs. Chen's midsection. Connected. Heard the woman grunt in pain. Where are the Parks? Maya suddenly realized. Where's Park Min-ho and his security? Mrs. Chen smiled through her pain. Dealing with their own problems upstairs. I brought enough men to handle them, and you? Did you really think I'd just walk in here without a plan? As if to punctuate her words, Maya heard more gunfire from above. Shouting. Screaming. The entire restaurant had become a war zone. Maya. Kim Jae-won's voice cut through the chaos. We need to go.
Now.
Maya looked back. Kim Jae-won had somehow fought his way to the stairs. 3 tactical team members were down. The others were regrouping, reloading. This was their chance. Their only chance. Maya started moving toward Kim Jae-won. Mrs. Chen grabbed her ankle, yanking her down. Maya hit the floor hard, her injured shoulder exploding with fresh pain. You're not going anywhere, Mrs. Chen snarled. She pulled a small knife from her boot, a real one, sharp and deadly. Maya saw it coming toward her throat. Time seemed to slow down. All of Chen's training flashed through her mind. When someone comes at you with a knife, you have 2 choices: control the weapon hand or create distance. Never freeze. Never just accept death. Maya didn't freeze. She rolled into the attack instead of away from it, inside Mrs. Chen's reach. The knife passed over her shoulder harmlessly, and Maya drove her training knife, blunt but heavy, into Mrs. Chen's knee with all her strength. Mrs. Chen screamed. Her leg buckled. She fell sideways. Maya scrambled to her feet and ran. Kim Jae-won was at the stairs, laying down covering fire. Move. 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 Maya ran, her injured body protesting every step. Bullets sparked off the concrete around her. She reached Kim Jae-won just as his gun clicked empty. Out of ammunition, he said grimly. Together they ran up the stairs, emerging into the restaurant's main level.
It was a nightmare.
Bodies everywhere, Park Min-ho's security guards, Mrs. Chen's tactical team, staff members who'd been caught in the crossfire. Blood on the traditional wooden floors. Bullet holes in the paper screens. The beautiful restaurant transformed into a slaughterhouse. And in the center of it all, Park Min-ho stood with Lee Mi-sun and Park Jin-woo, surrounded by what was left of their security team. They were pinned down behind overturned tables, exchanging fire with more of Mrs. Chen's people. Park Min-ho saw Kim Jae-won and Maya emerge from the basement. His eyes widened. You're alive. Thank God. We need to work together or we all die here. Kim Jae-won didn't hesitate. Agreed. Where's the exit? Kitchen. Back of the restaurant. Mi-sun, clear a path. Lee Mi-sun moved like a ghost, her gun appearing in her hand. She fired with mechanical precision, 1 shot, 1 kill, moving forward relentlessly. Whatever else she was, the woman was a perfect soldier. Maya and Kim Jae-won followed in her wake, Park Jin-woo right behind them, Park Min-ho bringing up the rear despite his age. More of Mrs. Chen's tactical team poured in through the front entrance. At least 15 more men. How many people did she bring? Park Jin-woo shouted. She planned this carefully, Park Min-ho replied, firing over his shoulder. She's been planning this for months. Waiting for the perfect moment to kill us all at once. They crashed through the kitchen doors. The staff had already fled, smart people. Lee Mi-sun shot out the back door lock and kicked it open. They emerged into a narrow Seoul alley.
Dark.
Garbage bins. The smell of cooking grease and city grime. My car is 2 blocks away, Park Min-ho gasped, clearly not used to running. If we can make it there. Headlights flared at both ends of the alley. 2 black SUVs, blocking them in. More of Mrs. Chen's people. We're trapped, Maya whispered. Kim Jae-won looked around desperately. Then his eyes landed on a fire escape ladder leading up the building next door.
Up, he said.
We go up. Up where? Park Jin-woo demanded. Anywhere but here. Move. They ran for the ladder. Lee Mi-sun went first, moving up with athletic ease despite her elegant clothes. Then Park Jin-woo. Then Maya, her injured shoulder screaming with every pull upward. Kim Jae-won and Park Min-ho provided covering fire from below as Mrs. Chen's people poured out of both vehicles. Maya made it to the 2nd floor balcony, then the 3rd. Below, she could hear gunfire, shouting. Kim Jae-won and Park Min-ho started climbing. Bullets sparked off the metal ladder around them. They made it to the 4th floor. The building was some kind of residential apartment. People were screaming inside, terrified by the gunfire in their quiet neighborhood. Keep moving, Lee Mi-sun commanded, already heading for the roof access. They burst onto the roof of the building. Seoul spread out around them. Millions of lights, beautiful and indifferent to the violence happening in this small corner of the massive city. Maya's lungs burned. Her shoulder throbbed. Her whole body was reaching its limit. But they'd made it. They were alive.
For now.
There. Park Min-ho pointed to the next building over. About a 10-foot gap, but the roofs were the same height. Jumpable. Maybe. You've got to be kidding me, Park Jin-woo said. Below, they could hear Mrs. Chen's people entering the building, shouting in Chinese and Korean. Boots on stairs. We jump or we die, Kim Jae-won said simply. Lee Mi-sun didn't hesitate. She ran and leaped across the gap, landing smoothly on the other side.
Of course she did.
Park Jin-woo went next, barely making it, windmilling his arms to catch his balance. Park Min-ho looked at the gap and went pale. I'm too old for this. You're too dead if you stay here, Kim Jae-won said.
Go.
I'll help Maya. Park Min-ho closed his eyes, took 3 running steps and jumped. He barely made it, Park Jin-woo catching him and pulling him to safety. Your turn, Kim Jae-won said to Maya. Maya looked at the gap. 10 feet. She jumped farther during training, but that was with 2 good shoulders. Without being exhausted and beaten and shot at. I don't know if I can, she admitted. You can, Kim Jae-won said with absolute certainty. You've done harder things than this. You survived Lee Mi-sun. You escaped Mrs. Chen. You can jump 10 feet. Maya heard footsteps on the roof access stairs. Getting closer.
She ran.
Her legs were pumped. Her injured shoulder burned. The edge rushed toward her. She jumped. For a moment, she was flying over Seoul, the city lights below her like fallen stars. Then she fell. Her hands caught the edge of the other roof. Her fingers scrabbled for purchase. Her injured shoulder screamed in absolute agony. Hands grabbed her wrists. Lee Mi-sun and Park Jin-woo, pulling her up and over. She collapsed on the roof, gasping. Jae-won, she shouted. Jump. Kim Jae-won was backing up to get a running start when Mrs. Chen's people burst onto the roof behind him. He ran and jumped just as they opened fire. He made it across, barely, landing hard and rolling. But he didn't get up. Jae-won. Maya crawled over to him. He was clutching his side. Blood seeped between his fingers. One of the bullets had caught him mid-jump. I'm fine, he lied through gritted teeth. Just a graze. It wasn't a graze. Maya could see that much blood meant a serious wound. Across the gap, Mrs. Chen's people were setting up to jump after them. Keep moving,
Park Min-ho commanded.
This building has a ground-level exit to a busy street. We can disappear into the crowd. They half-carried, half-dragged Kim Jae-won across the roof to another access door. Down more stairs, 6 flights, each step torture for all of them. They emerged onto a busy Seoul street. Normal people going about their normal lives, completely unaware of the war that had just happened 2 blocks away. My car is here, Park Min-ho gasped, pointing to a black sedan with a driver waiting. Get in. Quickly. They piled into the car. The driver took one look at them, bloody, exhausted, Kim Jae-won clutching a bullet wound, and didn't ask questions. Just started driving. Hospital, Lee Mi-sun said. He needs a hospital. No hospitals, Kim Jae-won ground out. They'll be watching hospitals. Take us to the hotel. We have medical supplies there. Maya looked at his wound. It was bad. Really bad. He needed professional medical attention. But he was right. Hospitals would be the first place Mrs. Chen would look. The hotel, Park Min-ho agreed. Driver, Signal Hotel. Fast. As the car raced through Seoul streets, Maya held Kim Jae-won's hand. His face was pale. His breathing was shallow. Stay with me, she whispered. Don't you dare die. Not after everything. Kim Jae-won managed a weak smile. I wouldn't dream of it. Still have to tell you the rest of the truth. Rest of the truth? His eyes started to close. About Sarah. About why I really kept that photograph. About what it means that you... He passed out. Jae-won. Maya shook him gently. Jae-won, wake up. He's alive, Lee Mi-sun said, checking his pulse. But he's lost a lot of blood. We need to stop the bleeding soon, or he won't stay alive. The car screeched to a stop in front of the Signal Hotel. Help us get him inside, Park Min-ho commanded. Quietly. We can't attract attention. They managed to get Kim Jae-won into the service elevator and up to the suite without anyone noticing. Or, if they noticed, they were smart enough not to ask questions. Once inside, Lee Mi-sun took charge. She'd clearly handled battlefield wounds before. She cut away Kim Jae-won's shirt, exposing the bullet wound in his side. Entry and exit, she announced. That's good. Means the bullet went through. But it might have clipped his liver. He needs surgery, or, at minimum, someone who can cauterize the wound and stitch him properly. I know a doctor, Park Min-ho said, already on his phone. Completely discreet. He'll be here in 20 minutes. Maya sat beside Kim Jae-won, holding his hand, watching his chest rise and fall with shallow breaths. All this violence and danger and blood, because he'd loved her aunt 15 years ago. Because he'd made enemies who killed the woman he loved. Because he'd seen a chance for redemption in helping Sarah's desperate niece. And now he might die because of that choice. Don't leave me, Maya whispered to his unconscious form. Please don't leave me. I still have so many questions. About Sarah, about us, about everything. She looked at the old photograph still clutched in her hand. Kim Jae-won and Sarah, young and happy. Would Maya and Kim Jae-won ever have a photograph like that? Or would this story end the way Sarah's had, with blood and death and loss?
She didn't know.
All she knew was that tonight had changed everything. The secrets were unraveling. The truth was emerging. And nothing would ever be the same again. Maya stood in the rain outside Dr. Lee's medical facility, staring through the window at her mother. Grace was laughing. Actually laughing, something Maya hadn't seen in months. She was walking without help, her skin glowing with health, her eyes bright and alive. The treatment had worked. She was completely cured. But she had no idea what her daughter had become to make that miracle happen. Inside the facility, Grace was talking with a nurse, probably asking when she could finally go home. She looked so happy, so free, so beautifully, painfully alive. Maya's hand touched the gun hidden under her jacket, the one Kim Jae-won had given her 3 days ago when they'd returned from Seoul. Just in case, he'd said. Mrs. Chen is still out there, still hunting us. 3 days since the massacre at the restaurant. 3 days since discovering the truth about her Aunt Sarah. 3 days since everything changed. And now Maya stood at a crossroads. Behind her, a black car waited. Inside was Kim Jae-won, recovered enough from his gunshot wound to travel, waiting for her decision. Waiting to see if she'd walk away or stay in his dark world forever. You have a choice, he'd told her this morning. Your 2 years are up early. You've earned your freedom with everything you've survived. You can walk away right now. Go back to your mother. Go back to school. Live the normal life you sacrificed. Or, he'd paused, his dark eyes holding emotions Maya was only beginning to understand. Or you stay with me. Not as someone who owes me a debt. Not as Sarah's replacement. But as my partner. My equal. He'd stopped himself. The choice is yours, Maya. Choose your own future. Now Maya stood in the rain, watching her mother's joy, feeling the weight of the gun under her jacket and wondering, who was she anymore? The desperate girl who'd begged at the gate? Or the dangerous woman who'd fought assassins in Seoul? Could she be both? Could she be neither? She took a deep breath and made her choice. Call to action. This is it, the moment that decides everything. Where are you watching from? Drop your country below and watch until the very end to see Maya's final decision. The Dr. Park Min-ho called arrived exactly 20 minutes after they'd gotten Kim Jae-won to the hotel suite. He was an older Korean man, maybe 60, who took one look at the bullet wound and got to work without asking questions. Maya liked him immediately. You're lucky, the doctor said in accented English as he worked. The bullet missed all major organs. Lots of blood loss, but nothing permanently damaged. He'll live. Maya felt relief crash over her like a wave. Thank you. The doctor stitched and bandaged while Maya watched. Park Min-ho and Lee Mi-sun had left to handle the situation, whatever that meant. Park Jin-woo had disappeared somewhere to make phone calls. It was just Maya and the unconscious Kim Jae-won and the quiet doctor. You care about him, the doctor observed as he worked. He saved my mother's life, Maya said quietly. That's not what I said. I said you care about him. That's different. Maya didn't know how to answer that. After the doctor finished and left with a large cash payment, Maya sat beside Kim Jae-won's bed, watching him sleep. His face looked younger when he slept. Less cold. Less dangerous. Just a man who'd loved and lost and made terrible choices trying to survive in a terrible world. She thought about what Mrs. Chen had revealed, that she'd killed Sarah. That Kim Jae-won had spent 15 years believing his rival gang was responsible when really it was someone he'd probably trusted. How much rage must be burning inside him now? How much pain? Maya pulled out the old photograph again, studied it in the dim light. Her Aunt Sarah looked so happy in the picture, so alive. She'd had no idea that loving this man would get her killed, that their love story would end in blood and loss. Would Maya's story end the same way? You look just like her. Maya jumped. Kim Jae-won's eyes were open, watching her with a strange expression. You're awake. How do you feel? Like I got shot, he said dryly. Then his expression softened. You saved my life back there. Multiple times. Thank you. You've saved mine plenty of times too. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Kim Jae-won spoke again, his voice rough with emotion. I need to tell you everything now. No more secrets. No more half-truths. You deserve to know it all. Over the next hour, as dawn broke over Seoul, Kim Jae-won told Maya everything. About meeting Sarah 15 years ago. About falling in love with someone who saw good in him when no one else did. About planning to leave his criminal empire for her, until she died, and that plan died with her. About carrying her photograph for 15 years as both punishment and reminder. About becoming colder and more ruthless because being soft had gotten the woman he loved killed. About seeing Maya at his gate and recognizing Sarah in her eyes. The same determination, the same refusal to give up, the same inner strength. I told myself I was helping you for Sarah's sake, Kim Jae-won said. But the truth? I was helping you for my own sake. Because maybe if I could save you, protect you, help you survive, maybe it would prove I wasn't completely irredeemable. That I could do something good. And now? Maya asked quietly. Kim Jae-won looked at her directly. Now I'm terrified. Because somewhere along the way, you stopped being about Sarah and started being about you. And I'm starting to care about you the way I cared about her. And everyone I care about dies. Maya's heart pounded. I'm not going to die. You almost did. Multiple times. And it was my fault for dragging you into this world. I chose this world, Maya corrected. I walked through your gates. I made the deal. I chose to come to Seoul. You gave me choices, I made them. Choices under duress aren't real choices. Then let me make a real choice now, Maya said. She stood up, the photograph still in her hand. I choose to stay. Not because I owe you. Not because of some debt. But because... She struggled to find the words. Because you're right. I'm not the same girl who begged at your gate. That girl died somewhere between the training and the fights in Seoul. This new version of me, she belongs in your world now. Kim Jae-won's expression was painful. Maya, you have no idea what you're saying. If you stay with me, you'll never be safe. Mrs. Chen will keep hunting us. Other enemies will emerge. This life destroys everyone it touches. Then we destroy it first, Maya said with fierce determination. Mrs. Chen killed your Sarah. She tried to kill us. She's still out there planning her next attack. So we don't run. We don't hide. We fight back. A smile crossed Kim Jae-won's face, a real smile, not his cold professional mask. You've definitely changed. The old Maya would never suggest going to war with the Chen family. The old Maya is dead, Maya said simply. This is who I am now. 2 days later, Kim Jae-won recovered enough to travel. Park Min-ho arranged for a private jet to take them home, this time with serious military-grade security that even the Chen family wouldn't dare attack. Before they left, Park Min-ho pulled Maya aside. You impressed me, he said simply. Most people would have died in that basement. You survived. You fought. You're stronger than you look. Thank you, Mr. Park. If you ever decide to leave Kim Jae-won, you have a place in my organization. I could use someone with your skills and your courage. He handed her a business card. Just in case. Maya pocketed the card, but knew she'd never use it. The flight home was quiet. Kim Jae-won slept most of the way, his body healing from the gunshot. Maya stared out the window, watching the ocean pass below. When they landed, Mr. Park was there to meet them with news. Grace was fully recovered and asking to see Maya. The doctor says she can be discharged in a few days, Mr. Park reported. She's been calling constantly, asking when her daughter will be home from studying abroad. Maya's heart clenched. Her mother. The woman she'd sacrificed everything to save. I need to see her, Maya said. Of course, Kim Jae-won agreed. That was our deal. When we survived Seoul, you'd get to visit your mother. Now, 3 days later, Maya stood outside Dr. Lee's facility in the rain, preparing for that visit. Kim Jae-won appeared beside her, his wound still healing but no longer life-threatening. Having second thoughts? He asked gently. I'm having all the thoughts, Maya admitted. About who I was, who I am, who I'll be. Kim Jae-won was quiet for a moment. I told you that you have a choice. I meant it. Your 2 years are up. You've more than fulfilled our agreement. You can walk away right now. Go back to your mother. Go back to school. I'll arrange everything. A new identity if needed, protection from the Chens, enough money to never worry again. And if I choose to stay? Then you stay as my partner, my equal, not as someone paying off a debt, but as someone choosing this life freely. He paused. But Maya, you need to understand what that means. The Chens won't stop hunting us. There will be more fights, more danger, more blood. This life has no happy endings. Sarah would want me to go, Maya said quietly. Wouldn't she? She'd want me to have the normal life she never got to have with you. Probably, Kim Jae-won agreed. Sarah believed in second chances, in redemption, in choosing light over darkness. He looked at Maya directly. But I'm not going to tell you what to do. This is your life, Maya. Your choice. What do you want? Maya looked through the window one more time. Her mother was being helped into a wheelchair by a nurse, preparing to take a walk around the facility's garden. Grace looked so peaceful.
So healthy.
So completely unaware that her daughter had become someone who carried guns and fought assassins and lived in a world of blood and secrets. Could Maya go back to being the daughter Grace remembered? The straight-A student who dreamed of being a doctor? The innocent girl who believed hard work and education could solve everything? Or was that girl truly dead, replaced by someone harder and darker and more dangerous? Maya made her decision. Maya walked into the facility, leaving Kim Jae-won waiting in the car. Grace's face lit up like the sun when she saw her daughter. Baby. Oh, my baby. You're finally home. Grace tried to stand from her wheelchair, and Maya rushed over to embrace her. They held each other for a long moment, both crying happy tears. Let me look at you, Grace said, pulling back. Her smile faded slightly. You look different. Older. What happened in Europe? Maya had prepared her story carefully. It was intense. The program was very demanding. But I learned so much, Mom. I'm not the same person who left. I can see that. Grace touched Maya's face gently. You look harder. Like you've seen difficult things. I have. But I'm okay. I'm strong. Maya took her mother's hands. And you're healthy. That's all that matters. You're going to live a long, full life now. Grace's eyes filled with tears again. Thanks to that anonymous donor. I still can't believe someone would pay for everything. Dr. Lee says the treatment cost almost $80,000 total. who would do something like that. Someone who believed you deserved a second chance, Maya said truthfully. They talked for hours. About Grace's treatment. About Maya's fake study abroad program. About the future. Grace's plans to go back to work part-time. Maya's plans to what? Go back to school? Pretend the last 2 months hadn't changed everything? Finally, as visiting hours ended, Grace grabbed Maya's hand. Promise me something, baby. Promise me you'll be safe. Whatever you're doing, wherever you're going next, promise me you'll take care of yourself. Maya heard the unspoken question. What aren't you telling me? I promise, Mom. I'll always take care of myself. You taught me how to be strong. I love you more than anything in this world, Grace said fiercely. Don't ever forget that. I love you too, Mom. Always. Maya left before her mother could ask more questions. Before the carefully constructed lies could start to crumble. Outside, the rain had stopped. Kim Jae-won was waiting by the car, his expression carefully neutral. How is she? He asked. Perfect.
Healthy. Happy.
Completely oblivious to everything I've become. Maya looked back at the facility. She can never know the truth. About you, about Seoul, about any of it. She needs to believe I'm still her innocent daughter who's going back to study and become a doctor. And are you? Kim Jae-won asked. Going back to that life? Maya pulled out the business card Park Min-ho had given her. Looked at it for a moment. Then she tore it in half and let the pieces fall to the wet ground.
No.
That girl is gone. I tried to see her in there with my mom, tried to remember who I used to be, but I couldn't find her. She died somewhere between your training facility and that basement in Seoul. She turned to face Kim Jae-won directly. I'm staying. Not because I owe you. Not because of Sarah. But because this is who I am now. Someone who knows how to fight. How to survive. How to stand beside you in your world. Kim Jae-won's expression transformed. Relief and concern and something that looked like joy all mixed together. Are you absolutely sure? Because once you choose this, there's no going back. I'm sure. Maya pulled out the old photograph of him and Sarah one last time, looked at it, then handed it back to him. But you need to let her go. Sarah's gone. I'm not her replacement or her ghost. I'm me. If we're going to be partners, really truly partners, you need to see me as Maya. Not as Sarah's niece. Just as me. Kim Jae-won took the photograph. Stared at it for a long moment. Then, deliberately, he tore it in half. You're right. Sarah's gone. And you're not her. You're someone entirely new. Someone stronger. He let the pieces of the photograph fall into a puddle. Maya Johnson. My partner. My equal. He paused, seeming to struggle with the words. Someone you what? Maya prompted. Someone I care about. Deeply. More than I should. Maya stepped closer to him. The feeling is mutual. They stood there in the fading rain, two people bound together by blood and secrets and choices made in the darkness. So, what happens now? Maya asked. Now? We go to war. The Chens tried to kill us. They murdered Sarah. They need to pay for that. Kim Jae-won's expression went cold and dangerous. And we make sure everyone knows. You don't attack us without consequences. Together, Maya said firmly. Together, Kim Jae-won agreed. As they drove away from the medical facility, Maya looked back one more time. Her mother was visible through the window, waving goodbye with a huge smile. Grace would live a long, healthy life, never knowing what her daughter had sacrificed to make that possible. Never knowing the darkness Maya had walked through. Never knowing the person her daughter had become. Maybe that was for the best. Some truths were too heavy to share. Maya turned forward, looking toward the future instead of the past. She'd walked through black gates 2 months ago as a desperate girl begging for help. She was leaving now as something else entirely. Something dangerous. Something powerful. Something new. The desperate black girl who'd begged the Korean Mafia king for work was gone. In her place was Maya Johnson. Fighter. Survivor. Partner to one of the most dangerous men in the city. And together, they were about to make the Chen family regret they'd ever heard the name Kim Jae-won. This wasn't the ending Maya had imagined when she'd first stood in the rain outside those black gates. It was better. It was hers. And it was just the beginning.
The end.
Thank you for following Maya's incredible journey from desperate girl to dangerous survivor. She sacrificed everything to save her mother and became someone she never imagined. But the story doesn't end here. The war with the Chen family is just beginning, and Maya and Kim Jae-won's partnership will be tested in ways they can't imagine. Subscribe to this channel if you want to see what happens next. Will Maya and Kim Jae-won defeat the Chen family? Will Grace ever discover the truth about her daughter? Can Maya ever truly go back to a normal life? Drop in the comments. Did Maya make the right choice? Should she have walked away and gone back to her mother? What do you think happens in the war against the Chens? Thank you for watching, and remember, sometimes the price of saving someone you love is becoming someone you never thought you'd be. And sometimes, that's exactly who you were meant to become all along. Red heart like if this story moved you. Loudspeaker share with someone who loves intense transformation stories. Bell subscribe for more incredible stories of survival, sacrifice, and strength.